Hi, it's T. Carlson here. About 20 years ago, two of horror's biggest icons squared off against one another in a film that got a rather mixed critical reception. The movie we're looking at today is Freddy vs. Jason. This release is taken from the Friday the 13th box set from Scream Factory. However, the disc that's included here is actually identical to the previously released Blu-ray. So I'm going to unbox this Blu-ray release and share my opinions. Cover art there with our two iconic villains. Back cover. Here is our Blu-ray disc. Underneath the clear packaging here, you also have reversible artwork. Two titans of terror going at it mano a machete. They're going to kill each other a lot. The horror and wicked fun begins when Freddy realizes he can't haunt dreams because folks no longer fear him. So he enlists Jason to do a little killing on his behalf on Elm Street. Presto, the fear is back and so is Freddy. One problem, Jason isn't about to stop offing people. And another, Freddy isn't about to let Jason rule Elm Street. This means war. Freddy versus Jason. Winner kills all. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I love the Friday the 13th films. So of course, putting these two titans of horror together in one movie seemed like a recipe for success. Of course, the ending of Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, briefly teased Freddy Krueger sort of crossing over with Jason, and that's what we finally get in this movie about a decade later. The end result is admittedly something of a mixed bag. We do have a lot of the drama, the basic teenager characters. There aren't really any particularly likable or memorable ones here, so when they end up getting their comeuppance, I don't think we really feel too terribly horrible about them. We do get a few funny scenes, some decent dramatic ones, but it does feel a bit rehashed from older films in these two respective series. The movie almost feels more like a Jason movie than a Freddy movie because Jason is revived to sort of be the killer to bring back Freddy's powers and make people fear him again. But when they do square off, it is pretty fun, as you'd probably expect. I do think there's maybe a little too much story here and a little too much build-up. I think people that are seeing a movie called Freddy vs. Jason want to get right down to the good stuff, and the movie doesn't exactly do that, although when it finally does come around, the end results admittedly aren't bad. The movie's a mixed bag, but certainly not the worst film in either of the respective franchises that it represents. Again, this film is presented on the Blu-ray disc identical to the previously released one. It's not a new scan put out by Scream Factory, sadly. Although I do have to say, the disc is actually not too bad looking. The colors are still pretty strong. There's a decent amount of detail. It is due for a 4K Ultra High Def release and a new scan, but overall, this is certainly not a bad looking disc, and it should hold fans over until it gets the eventual 4K release it deserves. There are quite a few bonus features on here. They're mostly the standard EPK type stuff, but we do get a commentary track, some deleted scenes, trailers and TV spots, and a handful of other things as well. So it's actually a slightly more robust package than I would expect. And that's certainly a good thing. I'm glad to see that they didn't skimp on the bonus features here. Again, even though it is simply a rehash of an older disc. Freddy vs. Jason is no masterpiece, but again, certainly not the worst film in either series. And it is good to see these two titans of horror square off against each other. You can't help but get a little giddy when something like that happens. So I can moderately recommend this disc. How about you? Were you a fan of Freddy vs. Jason? Do you think this showdown lived up to the hype? Do you think it was a bitter disappointment? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos. And make sure to give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.